What's happening, guys? Back at you with another video. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about Avatar: The Way of Water, basically giving my thoughts and my review on what I thought about the movie. So let's go ahead and get into it. So for those of y'all that may know, I mentioned it a little bit in different parts and stuff like that. Um, I'll say like I'm not really necessarily the biggest fan of Avatar. At least the first Avatar movie, I wasn't really necessarily the biggest fan of it. I didn't think it was a bad movie or anything like that, but it definitely was a recycled and reused kind of story that they used that we've seen in other previous stories and movies and things like that. Really, the one thing that I had going for it mainly was the visuals. You know, it was visually stunning and all that for the time that it came out and all that. So that was kind of the one main thing it had going for it. But like I said, it was overall it wasn't a bad movie or anything like that. And you know, I kind of like it and stuff like that. But it's not a movie I typically go back to. Like even now, I recently rewatched it. I think like a day or two before I went to go see Avatar: The Way of Water, and that was literally my first time watching it like over again, and like it's probably been like 9 or 10 years since the last time I seen it. Like it's been a very long time. Like I seen it here and there, parts of it maybe like once in a while. There might be like a clip or a part or something I watch or something that just pops up somewhere that I've seen. But other than that, just actually sitting down and fully watching the whole movie and all that, it was probably like a good 9 to 10 years since I've seen it, honestly. And of course, I just rewatched it for in preparation for watching Avatar: The Way of Water. So I watched it the day, like a day or two before I'm about to go see Avatar: The Way of Water and stuff like that. And you know, I was like, kind of like this. Well, I never thought it was a bad movie or anything like that, but I was thinking like, huh, actually kind of missed out on watching this over the years, you know, because like, uh, I actually like it. You know, I actually like the movie. You know, I won't say it's one of James Cameron's best or anything like that, but it's definitely a movie that I might consider actually watching a little bit more in the future. You know, it's actually not a bad movie or anything like that. The one thing that I will say about the first Avatar movie though that kind of, I don't know, I guess annoyed me. I'm not trying to hate on it or anything like that. I definitely not. But I guess just the way that it became the highest grossing movie of all time, and like it was kind of, you know, like for the time, I get why it might be considered that, but it's like they kept re-releasing it too and stuff like that too, and things like that. So I guess I got kind of annoyed that it was like kind of becoming the highest grossing movie of all time, and of course I guess I'm a little biased where it beat Avengers Endgame and stuff like that too, and all the other movies and stuff like that. I guess I'm a little biased there, but nonetheless, I think the Avatar movie, the first one, was honestly it's a great movie. Honestly, it's a great movie, even though it has a reused, recycled storyline. The visuals are great too, and all that. So honestly, overall, the first Avatar movie was really good, and I might consider rewatching it like down the line in the future, like you know, where it's not so much of a space in between and stuff like that. Now get on to the Avatar: Way of Water. Um, I was gonna watch this movie eventually anyway. Like I was gonna watch this movie anyways. I didn't really see myself flocking to the theaters like opening night or maybe opening weekend. Like I considered watching it like on one of my days off, like maybe a Sunday or something like that. But you know, I was gonna go consider watching it, but like I was just dead tired on one of my days off, and I just couldn't make it and stuff. So I waited a couple days after that to go check it out, and so I saw it on a couple days after opening weekend, because I was gonna watch it eventually, you know, even if I wasn't like going opening night or going opening weekend, I was gonna watch this movie eventually anyway. So I went a few days after opening weekend. Um, and really I didn't really know what to expect. Like I didn't think we were going to really get a bad movie or anything like that. One thing I was expecting was like we're probably going to get some great visuals and it will probably look visually stunning and stuff like that, going off the things we've seen. So I didn't really have too many expectations or not really knowing what we were going to get. But like I said, when I went in the movie, I saw the movie. Like I said, pretty much everybody and what same as me, what expecting was great visuals and looking like visually stunning, and that's exactly what we got. We got some great visuals, and it was visually stunning the whole movie throughout the whole 3 hours something minutes runtime. Um, the whole movie was visually stunning. It really was, and the thing about it was like just sitting in the theater. The one thing I'll say is that James Cameron makes movies for experience. He makes experience type films to where it's like it's pretty much like a cinematic experience. I would say that this movie is sort of a cinematic experience. You know, if you go in there to watch it for what they're able to do with the visuals and the technology and stuff like that, and that's one of the reasons why it took James Cameron so long was the technology. He needed to make the technology the technology that he wanted needed to like sort of catch up and to be able to make this movie that he wanted with the way it was with the technology and all that stuff and the visuals and all that thing and all things like that. So yeah, that's why we wait. That's why one of the reasons why it took so long to do stuff. You know, like it took so long to do things and make this movie. I remember one of the actresses in there, I think it was Edie Falco, who said that she recently said a quote, released a quote, whatever, saying that she literally thought that this movie was released already. Like she said that she was going on saying that she filmed her scenes for the movie at least four or a little more than 4 years ago, and she thought the movie was released already, and she thought it got bad reviews or something like that. That's why she didn't really hear too much about its release or anything like that. So she just assumed it released already after filming her scenes that she said she filmed like at least 4 years ago. Uh, but no, like it's just the technology wise and things like that. That's why it took so long to make this movie. So he could be able to get that technology and get the visuals and stuff like that. Uh, I will say though, after watching this movie, and considering that we have a couple more sequels lined up to come out, I would say that I get it now. I get what James Cameron's trying to do. I get it. Like in the first film, I didn't get it too much, and I wasn't really getting it on why he was taking so long with making these movies, and then just in general making these movies, like spending so much time and trying to make these movies and trying to give us these movies. Like after the first film, and then just hearing how he's working on it for years, and like not making other movies or anything like that. Like he's literally been spending like at least 25 almost 30 years on these movies that he's trying to make. He hasn't made any other movies in that time, and he's literally just been putting all his time into making these movies and stuff like that. Like I didn't really get it or anything like that, but after watching this movie, I will say now I kind of get it now. I kind of get it. I see what he's trying to do. Like I see what he's trying to do, and I would still say that story wise, this isn't James Cameron's best movie. Like is I wouldn't put it at the top, like maybe not even the top three as one of his best movies, like story wise and things like that. I'm not saying that's a bad story, anything like that. I think the story is uh unique and kind of fits the tone and fits the movie for what it is. I would say that it's not really a reused storyline like it was for the first one. So in my opinion, the story is better than the first one, the first movie. But like I totally get now what he's trying to do. Like I get what he's trying to do. I will say that though, watching this movie though, and by the time the credits were rolling, I'm actually kind of interested in the sequels now. Like I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't a huge Avatar fan or anything like that. I like it took me a long time to even rewatch the first movie again. But now watching this movie and going through this movie and then going through this experience and going up until the credits roll, I'm actually kind of interested in seeing what the sequels are going to be like. I'm actually kind of interested. So yeah, like I said, this movie, I think is better. I think it's better than the first one. Visually, it looks stunning. The story wise is uh better and more of a story that's to this movie instead of being a reused or recycled storyline like the first one. So I feel like overall this movie is better than the first one. I I did enjoy this movie. I highly enjoyed this movie. Just watching it, it definitely was a sort of cinematic experience. Now I'm kind of wishing that I saw it in 3D. Like a lot of people are saying that it looks great in 3D. It still looks great in regular 2D. But I'm kind of wishing. I'm actually kind of considering watching it in 3D just to see if it really is all lives up to all the hype to be. Like it still looks great, visually stunning for 2D. And I do highly recommend that y'all check it out. The movie. Um, like I do, yeah, like I do recommend y'all check out the movie. Like honestly, if you like the first movie, then I think you will like this one, and maybe even possibly like it better than the first one. If you're not really the hugest Avatar fan, I don't know if you'll necessarily like this movie. If anything, you could watch it for the visuals and the technology that they're able to use for this movie. I'll say like yeah, if you're not really interested, like you have no interest at all in watching this, or you have no interest at all in watching this movie, or you not have no interest in Avatar at all, then I wouldn't see you necessarily liking this movie. But I would say maybe if you checked it out for visuals and things like that, maybe you could find something you like in it. I don't know, but definitely if you have some interest in Avatar or if you like the first movie, or you are a fan of Avatar, then I do recommend watching this movie and checking it out. Honestly, it's a great movie. Uh, like I said before, I won't put it at like the top three or anything like that of James Cameron's films, just overall. But definitely, it's like towards the middle of the pack. He hasn't made a whole lot of movies. I think he's only made like 9 movies total now, including this one. So like I would put it maybe towards the middle of the pack. I wouldn't really put it in the top three, but I see what he's doing now. Like I won't say I was totally against Avatar or anything like that. Like I was going to watch the movies regardless. But now after watching this movie, like I said, after watching this movie and seeing it in its entirety, I get it now. I'm actually kind of interested now. I'm actually kind of interested in the sequels and seeing where they go with this story and going with these characters and all that stuff. I will say that I'm not. I don't necessarily have the strong emotional connection with these characters. That's kind of one of the things that was lacking in the first movie, was like I didn't really have a strong emotional connection with these characters, and I wouldn't really necessarily say that it's necessarily a bad thing. Like I still like the movie, even though I don't have that emotional connection or anything to characters. I will say though, still with this movie, I don't have a strong emotional connection with these characters. Still in the second movie, I will say though that this movie does seem to focus a little bit more on the family aspect. We see, kind of different people, different of the Navi, having kids. We have like Jake Sully. He started his own family with his own 3 kids. We have Sigourney Weaver's character, who we know who died in the first one, actually turned out to be pregnant. And I think she really was like, this whole mystery was going on kind of in the movie where they were trying to figure out who the dad was and stuff like that. But honestly, I think it's kind of playing into it and the way the movie is. I think it's actually kind of almost like an immaculate. Forgot what the word was. But I think she was actually born from basically what's the Enway or Eway or something like that. I forgot what the whole spirit thing was called and all that. But I think that's how she got pregnant and stuff like that, because she was dying in the first one, and she connected with Eway and towards the end of the movie and all that. So I think that's how she got pregnant with them. But basically, Jake takes care of that daughter, so he's almost like it's its own daughter. We have the colonel or general, whoever he was in the first one, the character that's played by Stephen Lang. Turns out we find out he actually had a son too. So the son is actually um, taken in by Jake and his family, and like actually is a part of his family and all that stuff. Um, so yeah, this is definitely more of the sort of next generation. I think it kind of plays into the sequels too, that this might be where uh, this is about the sort of next generation. I'm sure that Sully and or Jake and Tyrion and all of them will play a part in the next sequels. But I think these next sequels might be part of sort of the next generation with their kids and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of how it'll play into that. Because a lot of times in this movie, it felt like Jake and Tyrion kind of were sidelined a little bit. We didn't get a whole lot of scenes or too many scenes with them, just them and stuff. It's mainly them and their family, or we have a lot of scenes. A lot of the kids play a big part in this movie, to where we get a lot of scenes with just them and them like learning the new ways of the new village they're living in, and then just them going on an adventure and things like that. Like we get a whole lot of scenes with just the kids and things like that. And it felt like Jake and Natiri were kind of sidelined, and the small parts that they did have show up and stuff like that was mainly part of the whole family aspect. There's them with their family and things like that. So we didn't get really too many scenes where it was just them by themselves or anything like that. But yeah, this movie definitely plays a big part into the family aspect of things, and just taking care of family and dealing with family, and just the overall tribulations of family and protecting them, and going through childhood things like this as a kid and things like that. One of the things that reminded me a lot of when they moved to the new village. It almost felt like, um, at least me on a personal aspect, it felt like the way you will like go to like a new school, or you move to a new town and you're so new there, and you're kind of outcasted a little bit in the beginning because nobody knows you, and you just maybe you get bullied, or maybe you're just outcasted because nobody knows you and stuff like that. So it's like a hard time fitting in and stuff like that. You get a kind of a little bit of that in this movie with them, going to the new village and stuff like that. But you see the build up, and you see towards the end they are accepting them into the village and stuff like that. So you get kind of that too going on. But yeah, I really think that that their kids and this whole new next generation kind of thing going on is definitely going to play a big part in the sequels. Like that's the way it feels and all that stuff going off of this movie, and the way that this movie was like with the third act and just the ending. It really feels like a setup kind of movie to the sequels. And James Cameron already has like pre-planned all these movies and stuff like that. Basically, they're almost done with the third one already, I think, too, and they're going to get started on the fourth one. So like he's pre-planned all this stuff, So like the way this movie is, like it feels like them going through the movie, and just basically going through watching the third act and the way it ends and stuff like that. It really does feel like it's setting up some other stuff. So like I said before, I'm actually kind of interested in seeing what happens in the sequels. Um, I'm more interested in this world and just the Avatar films more in general after this movie, more than the actual first movie. So in my opinion, that's kind of a good thing. That's a good thing that you're actually caught my interest a little bit with this movie going into the sequels and stuff like that. So that's actually kind of a good thing on their part. But I like the things he's kind of doing. He's kind of building out this world of Pandora. He's kind of doing new things with the world and all that world building, expanding and things like that. Like for a majority of this movie, after like the opening act and the first act and stuff like that, we go to a whole new village where we're meeting a whole nother tribe of Navi, and expand upon that and just dealing with the way their tribe is, the way their villages ran and all that, and dealing with the how they are. They're like definitely a different sort of tribe, a different sort of people from the forest Navi. They're basically water Navi when they come to this new village. So their whole thing is that they deal with water. They're in the water. They're next to the water. They live by the water and all that things. And it's kind of thing. Honestly, like yeah, like them teaching their ways of the water, hence the title, I guess. The way the water that they're teaching them, and honestly, I gotta say, the way that the water shots are, and we're seeing these water shots and ocean shots and all that stuff. It's amazing. Honestly, it's amazing looking at it. Like the visual, like the way it looks visually, it's amazing. And honestly, it shows like a sort of mystical side to the sea, to the water and all that. Like you get these scenes inside the water and underwater, and it just shows like a sort of mystical side to where it's actually like it looks amazing. Like it looks amazing and stuff like that. It's like it's kind of like a place or like somewhere that you want to go and like kind of visit, or just see for your own eyes and stuff like that. That's what it feels like. The way looking at this movie, watching this movie and seeing those kinds of shots and scenes in there, it looks so amazing. It looks so stunning. Dealing with these water shots and stuff like that, and I would say like the third act battle, we get like this huge battle and stuff like that, and things happen. I don't want to really give too much away, or spoilers away and stuff like that. But like a lot of things happen, and the battle happens and all that stuff. And it was kind of funny during the battle too. There's like a part in there, and I was watching the movie, and I was like, "Are we watching Titanic right now?" Because considering how James Cameron did direct Titanic and all that, there's literally in a scene, like a couple scenes in the battle where it felt like it was the Titanic, like we were watching Titanic for a bit. But yeah, nonetheless. This story, I'll say the story is done pretty well overall. Like I said, it's kind of a better story than the first one, where the first one kind of reused and recycled a known story already that we've seen before. This one kind of sets out on its own kind of story, and I think it's a little better. I think it's better than the first one. Overall, I think this movie is better than the first one. At least I liked it more than the first one, enjoyed it more than the first one. So yeah, like just the different things in this movie is like honestly it's a cinematic experience overall. How I could say is a cinematic experience overall. James Cameron does make these sort of experiences that you watch, um, when he's making his movies and all that. So um, honestly, it's a great movie. It's a great movie. I do recommend checking it out and seeing what you think of it overall for yourself. Yeah, like I said before, if you're a Avatar fan or you have interest in Avatar or the world of Avatar, I recommend you watch it. If you don't really have interest or you don't really care about it, then this movie might not be for you, and maybe if you do end up watching it, you can find something you like about it. I think it's just, you might find visuals at least incredible and amazing. But I don't know if you're not really invested or interested in the world of Avatar, then I don't really see if you'll like. I don't know if you'll like be into this movie as much. But yeah, it's a great movie overall. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed watching it. It feels it's like a little over 3 hours long. I would say that they had some great pacing in this movie to where it didn't feel like it was 3 hours long. So that's a great thing. It's like it wasn't exhausting to watch. It didn't feel exhausting to watch or anything like that. Um, so that's a good thing. Pacing wise, that's a good thing. It had some good pacing. It didn't feel exhausting to watch for those 3 hours. So that's a good thing that the movie has going for it. But yeah, like it's just a lot of great things going on here. And like I said, after watching this movie, I kind of get it now. I kind of get it what James Cameron is trying to do, and I'm actually kind of interested in seeing what happens in the next couple sequels and seeing those next couple sequels and see what's going to happen. I'm actually kind of interested. So we'll see how it goes with that. But that's going to do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Leave down in the comments below if you've seen this movie already. Let me know your thoughts on it. But that's going to do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Remember, if you want to be a part of Team Legendary, all you got to do is subscribe and turn notifications on so you know I'm posting our video. Hope you all have an awesome day. And remember, be legendary.